Communication Manual number 3, Get to the Point. Her title is My Maria. Her speech will be 5 to 7 minutes long, talking about family. Sparkle will be talking about a close, almost family relationship that has lasted 60 years. Sparkle, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I, just a few mornings ago, got the urge to call Maria. For the first time, it had been about 6 months since we talked, and the pandemic news out of Portugal was pretty bad. The highest per capita deaths in all of Europe. They were showing footage of overwhelmed hospitals and cemeteries where they were digging up graves to bury hundreds of people. And I always worried about Maria. So about every 6 months, I would call. You say every 6 months. Well, to tell you the truth, I would call her every week. She's that important to me, especially these scary days. Every time I call, I'm afraid, what if she doesn't answer? But I worry. But I have to tell you that I hesitate to call Maria because my Portuguese is weak. She knows that, and I know it. It ends up in sort of truncated conversations. But in this case, just like every other case, I gather up my strength and I dial. The voice finally does come on after many rings over the crackling line, and she says, "Estou." Now, I have to tell you, estou is a very important word. What it means is hello in Portuguese on the phone, but what it really means is I am here. So I think to myself, there's great relief washing over me, knowing that Maria is there. She's still there. And I respond to her, Maria, sou a menina. Maria, I am menina. I am your little girl in my 70s. I am your señorita. It's a term of endearment that she uses with me, which I imagine actually is hopefully maybe only for me. So we start talking. I listen to her news, she listens to mine, which isn't very much, and hers is not great. Her son George is still in the downstairs bedroom, bedridden after a stroke that he had 3 decades ago. Her daughter Candida is still suffering from that terrible back that happened when she twisted it, waiting tables at the restaurant down by the beach. And her son-in-law, with whom she's still close regardless, or despite her daughter's divorce, is still battling his tongue cancer. But he's managed to battle it until now, and he's still alive. However, no one can go to the hospital or get any real medical treatment because of COVID. And Maria herself goes to the store twice a week, and she's very careful. She wears a mask and she socially distances and all of that. And meanwhile, also her finances are tight. She and her husband draw down a meager pension, and they never ever really did recover from when she tried to open a restaurant several decades back and went bankrupt. She wasn't able to keep up with the mortgage. The banks were charging double-digit interest rates. It took her years to sell. And then finally, when she did sell, she had to go back to work for the owner of the restaurant that she just sold. She's sort of emblematic of Portugal itself, because Portugal has always known poverty. It's always been like a stepchild of Europe. And Maria herself, her family was not very supportive. I think her parents actually died when she was small, and her aunt used her as sort of a household slave. So then her husband rescued her, married her, and took her to Praia da Luz, my town in Portugal. And during that period, though, it was the Spanish Civil War. Food was going across the border instead of to Portugal itself. There was World War II rationing. And now that the EU has given them the euro, it's been about 12 times more expensive just to live. One thing I never have talked to Maria about is what happened when she ran away with the bartender of my mother's restaurant to France for a year. That she came back about a year later with her tail between her legs, but she never mentions it. I never ask, and her husband always acts as though nothing ever happened. But now she and her husband are crammed in that little basement flat with Georges on the first floor, and the other floor is taken over by his helper. When I'm there, we meet at the bakery about 3 or 4 times a week to catch up on news. And I tell her that if anything happens to her, that I won't have any more reasons to come back to the Algarve. Well, she dismisses that comment with a wave of her hand, but I think she knows it's true. I know other people in that town, but Maria means the most to me. So how do I end this conversation? I always tell her I will come to visit. Até logo, até então. Until then, Maria, and beijinhos. And we will plan to talk the next time, maybe more often than just twice a year. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.